So I'm Jorma Kaukonen. I've been a lot of places in the course of my life. I was born in Washington, D.C. My dad was in the service, and we traveled all over the place and this and that. And by some strange confluence of fate, I've been here for the last 30 plus years. Now, because you live here and you're from here, you realize that I could live here for 100 years and I'd still be that, oh, you live at the old Love Doll place or something like that, because that's how it is down here. Southeast Ohio, I remember the first time I saw it, there's a certain special air to it that's hard to really define. I had lived in Ohio before because when I was a kid, I lived in Cincinnati with my grandparents a lifetime ago, and I went to Antioch College for a while, et cetera, et cetera. But there's just something about this area where we live here that just seemed like the right place to live for a lot of reasons. I grew up in a suburb of Washington, D.C., and it's on the D.C. side of the line, but a block away from Maryland. I think when we were living in the States, I lived in Chevy Chase, which is a suburb of D.C. I think what I wanted to do when I was a kid is to be anywhere but there, you know. And, you know, like our daughter, she's away at college right now, but I think that when she was growing up, at some point she wanted to be anywhere but here. But one of the conversations that we had is that, you know, most people need to leave home for a while, but if you want to come back, this is a good place to come back to. But anyway, so when I was a kid, I guess, you know, everything was exciting. You know, I was born in 1940, so I grew up I was a kid during World War II. My dad was in the service, like most of the dads of you know, my generation, and we moved around a lot. So I'd lived in Louisiana, you know, things that I could barely remember, but kind of remember. I lived in Kansas, a lot of different places and stuff like that. But I will say, you know, later on as an adult, I was in California for 20 years, et cetera, et cetera. But for some reason, when I came here to Southeast Ohio, I realized I was not going to have to move again. So I guess it would depend on your vision for your life. You know, there's a lot of ways to do stuff, you know, like I went to college, but I didn't get my job because I went to college. Some people do, et cetera, et cetera. You never know what's going to happen. I guess to have an opportunity, and wherever you live, and we're talking about Appalachia here, to be able to comfortably provide for yourself and or a family is important. And we lived in Meigs County for a number of years. We live in Athens County now, and Meigs County is unbelievably underemployed. It's better now than it was 30 years ago when I moved here, but I mean, I guess you need to look at the opportunities that an area provides for you. Now, a guy like me that makes money playing music for a living, I don't do it all here, although that is possible. I have friends that do make a living playing music locally. And so I could really live anywhere. So for me, I'm just kind of like skimming on the surface of the waves here, you know. But I guess it would depend on what sort of a vision one might have for one's life, and what it would require to fulfill that vision. You know, when I was growing up, you know, in my family, going to college was really important. Both my parents were the first members of their family to ever go to college, and that was really important to them. And, you know, as I've told my kids, I didn't get my job as a performer, as an artist, because I went to college, but I think I'm better at it because I did, if only because you learn how to talk to people. So, I mean, there's a lot of ways to skin this cat, you know, and I guess it just depends on the right opportunities and being able to capitalize on them. I mean, I could think about one of those poems where the guy says, "Home is where you, when you have to go there, they have to take you in." But it's more to it than that. I think it's being comfortable in the environment. I'm not really a social butterfly, but I'm not antisocial either. For the most part, the people that I've had as neighbors here that I run to are incredibly friendly. You know, it's not just a hello if you run into somebody in the street. You could be there for 40 minutes. It's a home. That's a good question. I guess home is a place where you don't feel you need ever to move somewhere else.